Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com, get an autographed copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. Also, all kind of asset searches, locates, criminal background checks, any kind of PI work you need at emailrevealer.com. If you like today's show, check out the members section at OppermanReport.com. I got some big stuff going on. We just loaded up a show with A.J. Weberman, who is author of the book Coup d'Etat in America, and he just came out with a new book called Jerry Did It. And it's about Jerry Fleming and AJ's friendship with Jerry Fleming, who turns out to be one of the JFK assassins. Also, too, I got another show I just put up there just minutes ago. I don't even know what the title is, but it's with this woman, Kimberly, and she has this whole theory about how her father and her uncle were involved in not just the Zodiac killings, but also, too, the escape from Alcatraz. So that's some fascinating stuff, and she just contacted me, too, to tell me that the cops down there are doing some DNA work on it to see if they can match her to the Zodiac. So that's could be some breaking news. That could be a big deal. Today we got Kenji Gallo, a fascinating guy, and we're talking about his book, Breakshot: A Life in the 21st Century American Mafia. He's got a blog called Breakshot Blog, and also, too, another one called BetterLivedLives.com. Fascinating guy, Kenji Gallo, former organized crime figure, porn, drugs. Pretty much an average week here at the Opperman Report. So, Kenny, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, great. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
What can you tell us about yourself? Who is Kenny Gallo?
Well, we'll refer to who I was. I was, born in 1968, so I grew up in Southern California. I mostly grew up in Orange County, California. And at an early age, about 13, I became involved with organized crime members that were connected to the Medellin cartel. And I started transporting things for them at a young age. I helped them transport. I helped them hide cocaine back in the days. I knew Griselda Trio Blanco. They made a movie about her cocaine cowboys. Went to a party with her for a birthday party for her son, danced with her. I mean, it's like, and the whole time I was there, I always looked up to some of these other guys, which were LCN guys. They were always different. They were looked up to be different. And LCN is La Cosa Nostra. In case anyone doesn't know, it's the traditional mafia, Italian mafia. And I decided that's what I wanted to be. Even though I'm half Japanese, I decided that I wanted to be one of them. And I started working towards that. I learned how to work, be a bookmaker and a drug dealer early, about 13 or 14 years old, and I just kept working on it. And before long, I hooked up with Los Angeles crime family, which at the time was in a little bit of turmoil, and then later on got taken over by Peter Milano and his brother Carmine. Peter became the boss, and Carmine became the underboss. And I was with Captain and Street Boss as a family, Jimmy Kachi, Dominic Vincent Kachi, actually. And I worked up from there, and I went all around the country, went through my escapades in Las Vegas, and then in around 1990, probably 1998, I got connected. Well, I already knew some Colombo guys anyway. I knew other guys, and I ended up transferring to Brooklyn, New York. And I started running with the Colombo family. I got hooked up in a crew with Teddy Persico Jr., who's the nephew of the boss, Alley Boy, and the nephew of the boss, Carmine, and the cousin of Alley Boy, who's this. Teddy's dad is Teddy Persico, was Teddy Persico Sr., who was one of the Carmine's capos in the Colombo family. And so once I became involved with them, then I was doing all kinds of stuff, and I ended up wearing a wire for the FBI starting in 1996 for 8 years, and I recorded them all. I put about 60 people away, and people are still right now being sentenced for what I did. So then I changed my whole life and made a new life for myself and left all that behind. So I pretty much wrote about it and continue to write about it and do new things to help other people, and that's what I do.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, when you were 13 years old, and you started getting involved in coke dealing and stuff like that, working for these, you mentioned the woman from the Cocaine Cowboys movie, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of arrests back in those days? Like assaults and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I had assault and battery, assault with a deadly weapon. I mean, probably like 3 or 4, I think, back then.
Okay, so you had a lot of small cases in California.
A lot of cases, yeah.
Okay, and then a really big question for me is, because I'm from New York, I live on the East Coast now, I'm in Vegas now, but what would make you motivate you to want to move from nice sunny California to Brooklyn, New York?
Because if you're going to play baseball, you want to be in the major leagues.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, now the other thing too is now, how did you get involved in the porn business? When did that come about? That was in between 81 and 98.
It was in the coke dealing days, and what happened is I was always looking for things to launder money and to put money through, and things that we can do to diversify, because I pretty much knew that eventually that ride's coming to an end. I mean, they were starting to crack down on people. The prices were dropping. I mean, it went from originally around $40,000 a kilo, and then I remember it was like $27,000, and then at one point it was like $12,000. And there really wasn't the big money in it anymore, because it was saturated and it wasn't going to be a chic drug anymore. And I had met a porn star when I worked out at the gym. I had thought that he was undercover cop, because he was like trying to talk to me and stuff. And I was like, man, that guy looks like a Fed. And then one of my friends came in and goes, oh my God, do you know who that is? And he told me. And then I struck up a friendship with the guy, and the guy said he wanted to make his own movie. So I put up the $60,000 to make it in cash. And and then what happened is he was beyond his ability to sell it. And so I called my friends. I had connections with organized crime. I knew them there. And I'm like, hey, can you introduce me to people? And then they started introducing me to people. And I was like, wow, I flipped it right away. And that was easy. And then I started getting other people's money. Like I got Colombian money, everyone, to back these films. And then I would get them, make the film, pay everyone in cash, and then sell to a company. And then that company would write me a check to one of my companies, and then I would disperse the funds.
Gotcha. So you can turn all that cash into bank accounts.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, you have all this cash, and there's nothing you can do with it. I mean, you just sit on it. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I watch?
I know, but I bet you wish you had that problem today, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Hey, those are the old days. You know what I mean? That's it's just. But you take it for granted, because you're around it. It doesn't mean anything. It really, the money doesn't make you happy anyway. It doesn't bring you anything. It's just a thing. It was just a thing for me to bury in the ground, and to put into safes, and to put in safety deposit boxes, and put in a storage unit eventually.
Yeah. Oh. Now, I'm curious. Now, you were getting the coke there on the West Coast, right? And then how would you distribute it? Where were you selling it?
Well, I would get cocaine. They would either drop it off to me, or we would actually go to pick some up in Mexico and then bring it back across. But what I would do is I had a place in I sell in Hawaii, because I look Hawaiian and I can get away with it. So back then, you got to remember, there was no checks on the airplane.
Right.
You just couldn't check your baggage in, because they wouldn't. You wouldn't get arrested for it. They'd steal it. The baggage handlers would steal it. So I could carry 3 to 5 kilos in my carry-on bag. And I just put stuff in there with zippers and stuff like that, and that's all they really see. And then I would bring it, and it would be sealed so it didn't smell. And then I would just bring it to the island, and there you could still get 40 or 50 grams per kilo for it. And I sold it all over Southern California. I sold it to the Crips and Mexican gangs that I had good contacts with. So that was my main thing. Where
were you getting into Mexico?
We would go and we'd pick it up in Tijuana or down off the Playas, which is the beaches out past Tijuana. Okay,
so you had connections down in Tijuana. Okay, you bring up to California, then you'd get on a plane in California, and then you go to Hawaii and drop it off over there. So you had contacts in Hawaii? You made those through how'd you make those contacts?
Just through surfing and other criminals in California. We already know them, and like I said, I look like them, and so they'd always send me before.
Right.
I go there and go pick up money and then fly back all the time. See, back then you didn't need ID to fly on a plane.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would go to a travel agent and I would buy a round trip ticket to Hawaii, say for tomorrow on Friday, and I would leave in the morning, and then I would go to a different travel agent. I'd buy another round trip with a returning ticket, leaving. Well, I'd say I'd buy it for someone in Hawaii, and they would be leaving Hawaii on Saturday. So I'd go there, drop it off, and then turn right back around and come back around in a different airplane.
Right, and you didn't arouse any suspicion because you weren't there buying a ticket for cash at the airport. You had a round-trip ticket, and you had it through a travel agent, so it all looked cool. And it was under a fake name, too, because they didn't check your ID back in those days.
Yeah, I had fake IDs anyway, but they didn't really check. You could buy tickets in the newspaper. I mean, and just trade them with anyone. It didn't matter.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could even buy and sell those tickets after you used them. That's right. And build up the Sky Miles, and you can even use that. So those are the days, man, but not anymore. Now you can't even go to the airport with a cup of coffee. You can't even bring a cup of coffee on the plane.
That's right.
They want to take you to jail for that. Now,
I'll say this. One time I was bringing, I had 3 kilos of coke in a carry-on thing, and I decided someone needed a favor, and they needed 3 keys in Aspen, Colorado one day. So I left Orange County early in the morning. I had to be back by the nighttime because I had a dinner thing I had to do. So I left Orange County. I have to go to Denver Airport. I go to Denver Airport, and I'm waiting in line. They just had, they had a metal detector, and all of a sudden the buzzers start going off. I'm the next in line. They're going off. Cops run up with the guns out. And I throw my hands up. I'm like, uh-oh, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it for me. They grab the guy in front of me, and they slam him down. And they're like, you, move, get away. And I'm like, okay. And I just walked right through. But he had guns in his carry-on. But it freaked me out. You know what I mean? Like, I was, freaked out, but I still made the trip. I made the delivery and everything. That was, crazy.
Okay, but now what about the first time you went through the X-ray machine? You weren't worried that they would see bags of coke?
No, it wasn't bags. It was kilos, like bricks.
Right.
And then they didn't know what they were looking for. The X-rays were really primitive back then. The operators were, are just poorly trained and bad. They're looking for something that looks like a bomb or hand grenade or a gun.
And how would you get the money back?
I'd pack it back on me again. Same thing, right back. Never leave it out of your sight. But remember, I was really young then, and I don't fit the profile of I work with an undercover cop, and he was a dirty guy, and he gave me the DEA reports on what they look for to flag people in airports, using the payphone, looking nervous, sunglasses, tattoos, et cetera, like paying cash for tickets. So I already knew. So I'd carry a backpack with a bunch of books. Really, I'd just sit there and read my book and dress nice, not overly nice, but just nice, and do my thing. And I just I don't fit the profile of the traffic.
And how old were you?
I think my first time to Hawaii, I was 17 when I did that.
17 years old. And how old were you when you started getting involved in a porn?
Right around probably 19, 20, right around that. Maybe
oh, man,
18.
you must have been having a ball then. Forget it, right?
Well, see, back then, because I went to a military school, to all-boys boarding school.
Right.
So you can, magazines go around, and then the next thing I know is I'm on the set, and I'm paying these people, and there's girls that I recognize from Playboy, Penthouse. You know what I mean? Like I know them.
Yeah.
I'm right there. I'm meeting them in person. So yeah, it was a crazy, crazy life at that point. It seemed like it was all good.
Yeah, it must have been like a kid in a candy store.
It was.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, what was the case that caused you to turn and start informing on your former friends?
Well, it wasn't. The thing is this: I didn't have one case. It was I lived this life, and Jerry. There was an undercover cop that I was close with, and we used to rip off people, and I would give him information. And then he would give me information to keep me in business. And we used to get a lot of coke. We made a lot of money together. And then I got busted. And I remember that Jerry, I asked him, I I wanted to know, how bad, how bad they had me. He hung up on, you're hot, man, you're hot. He hung up on me when talking to me. And I was like, wow, that was my first case where people didn't stick with you, And then it happened a bunch of times. I got arrested for extortion, I got arrested for kidnapping, and every time I paid the lawyer bills. I did what I had to do. I had to keep on making money and doing everything, and people weren't helping me out. And I was like, oh man, I kind of started to see that. And then I was in Vegas in the 90s, and Pete, Milano, and everyone, we were trying to get stuff started in Vegas. We're trying to revamp the family. They made some new guys. They brought us some new blood, and they were trying to do it. So I was with Jimmy Kachi, and we were active. And Jimmy ended up getting arrested on another case. His bail got revoked. And when they did, then a bunch of guys like another capo in the family and a couple guys from Vegas tried to take like something that I was doing, like my operation, and try to take money away from me. And at one point, I wanted to fight them, and then and Jimmy's like, "No, just let it go, let it go." And ended up letting it go, which was good because it ended up being it turned into this big Operation Thin Crust and Operation Button Down in Vegas, where they took him down for like traveler's checks and all this other stuff. And they got me on one charge of mail fraud on that indictment. And I was planning on fighting it because I figured, even though I had never been off probation, parole, or in custody or out on bail, on bond, since I was 13 years old, basically. The whole time I'd been on paper, you know what I mean? Always in trouble. And I didn't know. I was like, I figured I would get like a year and a day for the mail fraud, really, basically, what I was looking at. And what happened is then Herbie Blitzstein got killed in Vegas, and Blitzstein was a loan shark and used to be with the Chicago outfit. He was with Tony Spilotro, and he was a good guy. And the feds turned the whole case into like a mob case, and it really wasn't. It was about two federal informers actually owed him a lot of money, and they're the ones that pushed for it. Like I was at a meeting at Blueberry Hill Restaurant in Henderson, where I was with Fat Stevie Sino, who was a LA mob guy, and then I was with a couple other guys, and those guys were pushing to do something to Herbie, and Stevie said no under no circumstances. And at that point, I was the go-between between Jimmy Kachi, Stevie, and the rest of the group, because Jimmy was in custody, but I could visit him at Terminal Island. So I would come back and bring messages to everyone, and I had the attorney that could have private meetings with him. And then the attorney, I would tell the attorney, give him a slip of paper, tell him what to say, and then he would come back and give me an answer. So I already knew what was going on. I knew that they had no authorization for it. And then Herbie got killed, and so I was in Rhode Island at the time, and a guy named Charlie called me, and he said he was an FBI agent, and he had gone to. At that point, my ex-wife's grandmother's house and given her my card. And I'm like, well, if he's FBI, why would he go there in Vegas when he could just go to California to my porn shop? They know where I'm at. You know what I mean? They arrested me. They know me. And I ended up calling Charlie back. And they said that we want to see you. And I'm like, well, let me call the FBI office. Where are you at? And then I called the FBI office. And then they put me through the switchboard to him. And it was him. And I said, I'll meet you, in California. So they made a meeting at a deli, and Kaplan's Deli in Costa Mesa, and I went there like 2 weeks after I got back, and they told me, look, man, we have a weak case against you, we probably got you, but you're going to end up being killed on the street, or you're going to get like 100 years. We're going to get you eventually on this one, on something. And they're like, we watch you all the time, you work hard, you get up early, you don't drink, you don't party, you're just trying to make money. And then they said, we want you to do some of this. And I'm like, I'm not really interested. What do I get out of it? And then they said, well, the only thing we can promise you is a fresh start. And I thought about it for a few minutes, and that was basically what I was looking for. And that was my way out, and it was over for me. And I wanted a fresh start. I just wanted to be a different person, So,
how old were you?
At that point, I think I was like 28 years old.
28 years old. He's still a kid. Now, you didn't go and when you started getting these cards at your mother-in-law's house, you didn't call up your lawyer right away and say, hey, what do you think?
No, because my lawyer was connected to everyone else, yeah. And he was, at this point, too, he was already in trouble. He was already had to go before a grand jury for another case that he got involved in California, and he was about to go down anyway. So it ended up another weird situation, but he it ended up actually good that I didn't. Plus, it would just cost me money. That's probably the main reason. You know what I mean? Like I would have had to pay him again and again and again and again. I just was always paying these guys.
But you had to be sitting on a good chunk of money, right?
Yeah, but every single time, it's I paid him $60,000 here, $40,000 here. You know what I mean? It's always money. And I know that, look, now I know that they do their work. People, you get paid what you deserve. Yeah. And it is work for me. But you kind of resent that. You know what I mean? You're just paying, and you don't really see that. And sometimes, he wouldn't call me right back, and I would get really mad.
Right, I know.
So, I just like, I just like resented it. Like, he opened a restaurant for his daughter, and like, dude, I know I pay for it. Come on.
I know.
He's like, you could come and have free food. I'm like, oh, thanks. But that's kind of what I was thinking. And then the first thing I told him is like, I don't want to rat on my friends. I didn't want to wear a wire against Jimmy Koch and everything. And they're like, look, we don't really care about them. What we really care about is you travel all across the country. You go to all these different places. You go to New York, you go to Rhode Island, you go to Ohio, you go to Cleveland, Ohio, you go to Chicago, you go all these different places, Pittsburgh, and you meet with all these guys. We want intelligence. And I said, well, how long is this going to last? And they said 6 months to a year tops. And I go, all right, I'll do it. And I kind of felt like, I don't know, man, sick, didn't know what I was doing. And then I just started traveling, and they were just taking intelligence at first. And then it just morphed. Once I got to New York, they started to ask me, well, we want you to meet with this guy again and this guy. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then a year went by, and I was like, well, I thought it was just going to be a year. And they were like, okay, we're going to do it for this much longer. And then another year went by, and it ended up being 8 years.
Now, were they paying your expenses and paying for your travel and all this kind of stuff?
Well, at first they weren't. And I was paying out of pocket for all this. And that's what I mean. They're like especially in New York, because, you're going out all the time.
Right.
Okay. And I'm going out with other wise guys, and we're going to expensive places. Like, we're out at Mr. Chow's all the time. When we're out, like $2,500 a meal, we're out. Bang. And, we were going places, going to the ball game, we're doing this, or guys are out gambling all night, and I'm there, and then I got to give them money, and then maybe I'll get repaid, maybe I won't timely, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot. And that's why I was like, and plus I was getting real burned out. Just being like, once you're done with the life and you just can't, I was already trying to mentally move on, and I was like, oh man, I can't hang out with these scumbags anymore. They talk about the same thing, and I have nothing, the main thing with the FBI too is I can't commit violence. No violence. Nothing. No violence. And it's hard to live in that world where, you know what I mean? You got to, a heartbeat, if you're around sharks, man, and someone attacks you got to respond right back. I mean, you have to. You can't be a mark. You can't, and it was real hard, for me not to crack some heads and stuff like that. So it was,
So the FBI started paying you. How much a month were they paying you?
They pay expenses. So it would depend. I wouldn't get a monthly payment. They would pay for, they started paying, because I was carrying the expense of paying for California and New York, the places where I lived, and they started paying that, and then they paid me travel money, and then they would reimburse me for dinners, but it never came don't think every week or every month I got them. It would be all right, nothing, and then more, in a lump sum, maybe a month later, 2 months. The government moves slow, so that's it. And then I had to turn in from the bookmaking and stuff. I had to turn in all the money, So I would get enough, because I had money from my porn shops and I had money from other things. So I would get enough to pay my bill, but it wasn't I just figured that was the beginning and the end of me winding down. You know what I mean? I thought, and rightly so. I mean, I'm glad I did this, because I pretty much figured that, I'm going to have to figure out alternative ways of making money in the future, and I'm going to have some skills. I had never worked a job ever in my whole life. I had a job when I was 13 as a kitchen help at the restaurant, where I got hooked up with a Colombian, and that lasted for 3 months. Really only 1 month of working, and the 2 months was on the payroll, and the rest of it was dealing drugs. So I didn't have any real, I'd been on paper at a bunch of jobs, but I never really worked. I never did.
But back to working for the feds, though. Did they make a deal for you, where you can still go out and deal a little bit of drugs here and there and keep that money, but just make some cases for us? And no. if you get pulled over, any kind of trouble, you give us our card and we'll get you out of it?
No.
Nothing like that, huh?
No. And in fact, I was not dealing drugs at all. I hadn't dealt drugs since the early 90s. But I didn't, I wasn't allowed to. The bookmaking money I had to turn over. All that. The only things if I had lost it, I had to pay those back to the people. But no, I had to actually, no criminal money. I mean, the money I got to keep was like my own money.
Wow.
From my businesses. Yeah, I mean, I got no card, and I mean, I you know, I never got in trouble. I wasn't like the kind of I don't drink alcohol. I don't take drugs.
Right.
I don't cause problems. Like I would never get pulled over for anything. I think that the whole thing in my whole life, I got like I think I got a ticket for talking on the phone one time, and I never got a speeding ticket. None of that stuff. Like I'm always really, 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 really careful to like fly under the radar. You know what I mean? Just
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, but now, because you run this other blog here called Breakshot, right? And I know you talk about a lot of cases that are going on today and stuff. So you must be familiar with guys who have these kind of deals where they're allowed to pretty much do whatever they want, and then they set people up, and they even get a percentage of the money that the cops take in DEA cases. When they bust, if there's like $1 million there, they'll get like a percentage of that money. You've seen those deals.
They get 25% of all seizable assets.
Yeah, right. How come you didn't work on a deal like that?
Yeah. You know what, dude? I was just at that point. I was just happy to like.
You didn't know any better, right? You know.
Yeah, well, no. You know, I knew because I was actually talking to another guy. It was like I already made my deal, and I just wanted to honor it and then get done with it. I never believed that it was going to last that long or go that far, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was just going to be like a quick thing and be done with it.
No, 8 years is insane. And now a word from our sponsors.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
Thank you so much for listening to the Opperman Report. I want to welcome all our new listeners at WWPR 1490 AM in the Tampa Bay area. We're brand new down here. We're getting a nice warm welcome. We have great advertising opportunities for local sponsors, local businesses, but also international websites and international companies too on our other stations in California, Nevada, Utah, and on the internet worldwide. But down here in Tampa Bay, Florida, we have some great opportunities for you to come in and get very, very affordable advertising rates. Get a hold of me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and we'll cut you a good deal. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction, If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook.
Do you know anybody else that's worked undercover for years?
You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman
like
Century,
right?
and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
It's the
look
Opperman Report.
At the end of it, they took care of me.
Here is
They
investigator
They gave me a new identity. They did everything. I mean, they kept their promise with me.
Okay.
100%. And I can't say it, but I know a lot of other people, and I know of a lot of people that have gotten those other deals where they're out still committing crimes and they're doing this, and that is the whole seizure thing to me is not good. It's not good because I can see when a guy's blatantly dealing drugs, the money comes from it, but when they're like taking people's money that are like barely attached, people's like, dude, come on, it's wrong. You know it, it's wrong. You can't take someone's house when the family lives in it. And the majority of the money didn't come from the guy's operation. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then they seize, the cars and stuff like that. And then you see the DEA agents driving around in those cars.
Driving them, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know what I mean? Like, who's the real crooks here? But now you're saying that when you were undercover, that you had other friends that were also working undercover? Like, and how do you strike up?
No, not undercover. No, I had one friend that had already flipped. He was an LA guy, and he was from Boston originally. He's what? So there's the major thing about if anyone wants to know about the LA Mafia, they can read Jimmy Fadiano's book. He was like the first informant. It's called The Last Mafioso. Then there's Anthony Chiato came right after Jimmy Fadiano, and he did The Animal in Hollywood. And then that takes it up to like my time period, and then I'm pretty much the end. So those three books they span the LA mob, the same people basically. And so I got a hold of Anthony Chiato through a mutual friend, maybe an ex-FBI agent. And me and him started talking, and he just became like my mentor, to become a straight guy, because he had already made the transition. But no one else knew that I was undercover. I mean, there's like 3 FBI agents total. My nickname, my code name was Breakshot, which is the name of my book. I've met agents afterwards, like years later, in LA, and one of them said, like, someone introduced me, and they're like, "Yeah, he works undercover in the mob." He's like, "No, he didn't. I'm on the organized crime thing." He must be lying. He asked me, he goes, "What was your agent?" I told him my handler, my case agent, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know him." And then he goes, "What was your code?" I go, "Breakshot." He goes, "Oh my God, I knew who Breakshot is. I just didn't know it was you." So that's how much they keep it secret.
Hey, so when you mentioned this guy, the Animal, is that the same guy that Nicole Brown's sister was dating?
Yeah. Yes. And see, this is funny because I lived in Newport Beach. In a apartment complex. It's a luxury apartment complex, and her sister lived there. Nicole Brown's sister lived there. And when one time the organized crime squad came to my house and they said, "Anthony Chiato is in town. He's going to do this. You better not threaten him. You guys better have nothing to do with him." And then like a couple years later, then I was talking to Anthony, and we were laughing about that they had come and warned.
Hey, what do you know about OJ being involved in any kind of coke dealing up in California? OJ and his friends up there, and Joey Ippolito and that kind of stuff. You know anything about that?
Well, I knew Joey Ippolito.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew Joey Ippolito. I knew. I'd seen AC Callie's around foreign girls. I went to school with OJ's kid. I went to the Army Navy Academy, and my girlfriend at the time, her mom's best friend was Betsy, who was Nicole's sister's friend. Lived right next door to him down there in Monarch Bay. But I know that OJ was involved in coke dealing. They were users. AC was a user. AC used to do some stuff for Joey, I believe. I can't say for sure because I wasn't there, but I mean, Joey Ippolito was a coke dealer. He was he was in prison with a couple of my friends, and I have a picture of him and Jimmy Coonan and another guy together. Jimmy Coonan was the boss of the West Coast from prison, and Joey was a big speedboat guy and big into it, moved a lot of weight, well respected. So, but the theory of this, and this is what everyone gets: the mafia kills. The mafia doesn't kill people like that, and they don't make it look like someone else killed them. It's a straight out hit. That's it. Go, you kill someone, and they're not going to kill two people, a woman especially. There's no purse. There's no gain. There's nothing to gain. Cartel might do that, but not the mafia.
Okay, but not. It wasn't. You kind of mumbled there for a bit. You're saying that you have no information of OJ being involved in coke, or you do have information?
Yeah. No, I have no information of OJ being involved in cocaine.
But AC was, because his girlfriend was caught with a duffel bag full of coke.
Right. AC worked for Joey Polito. I heard, back in the day. They used to go to the restaurant. Like, I used to know Ronnie and those guys. That restaurant Splash. They used to all go down there in Malibu.
Okay. Now, how did you be? No, I was watching one of your documentaries today. Okay, and the thing about how you got hooked up with Teddy Persico.
Yeah.
How did, because they picked you just because you had access to these porn girls?
No, I already knew Colombo guys.
Okay.
I knew Colombo guys from. I lived in Florida. I lived in Fort Lauderdale. I met them, and I met a bunch of the young guys that were like doing pump and dump stock and stuff like that.
Right.
So I used to go and just go hang out with them in New York and be with the porn girls and just like hang out and have fun. And then they would ask me to do things like, hey, we got to throw this guy a beating, but he knows everyone. Can you just walk in the office? We'll pay you whatever. Just walk in, smash him in the face, kick him, and tell him this is what you get. And so I would do it because didn't really care. And I also used to go. They were having a war. They used to give me. No one knew me because I don't look like I'm from it. Definitely, if I hold my mouth, they don't look. I'm not from Brooklyn, so I would carry a backpack with guns and go to a restaurant or go to a place, a diner, before they went, like a half hour before, when they're having a meeting. If anything popped off, then I could bring them out. So I got to know these guys, and then they introduced me to Eddie Garofalo, and then Eddie Garofalo brought me to the Colombos, Persicos. And Eddie was with Teddy and his crew, and then Teddy was in prison, but said that I could be with him. So then they talked to Junior Persico, Carmine, and he was in Lompoc at that time, and he was friends with some of the LA guys, and Jimmy and those guys said, yeah. And so I moved to Brooklyn. I went on record with them, and I moved to Brooklyn, being in Teddy's crew.
But even still, you must have been making more money dealing coke in California than you were working for these guys in Brooklyn, right?
Well, no, because I wasn't dealing with California. I quit dealing that in the 90s. I made more money from porn and gambling than I did from anything else.
Okay.
Porn is quick money. Coke was quick money, and it was like a big thing, but it's not stable. Like in and out like this, shylocking and gambling make money. You don't have a product to sell. You're not out even when someone beats you for the money. You're not out like the physical product. All you're out is air. Shylocking, of course, like when I'm loan sharking, I lose the money, I lost the capital. But if they pay enough of the insurance, I'm not really out the money because the principal's already been paid back.
Yeah, you're way ahead, yeah.
The bookmaking, though, that's where the money is. That's why these huge casinos in Vegas, man, it's all money. It's fake money. It's sports bet. We come up with these teasers and these products. You're not going to win. All that money I get to keep. Even if I have a budget, as long as that balance in my books, I get 10% dig on the money. So a guy bets 100 on the Angels, and another guy bets 100 on the White Sox. I get $10 from each one. I get $20. See what I mean? Like I make 10% dig. I make money no matter what. That was big money. Those were good money. That was money. And the porn. Anytime you can shoot something and make it, and it costs you like $1.25, and I can sell for like at the highlight, I'm selling for $49. And then when I'm at the end, I'm blowing them out at $9.99 a piece. But you got to buy 3 at one time in cash at my store, DVD. It still only cost me $1.25 for DVD.
And what made you get out of the porn business then?
Well, because I'm done. My life's changed. I didn't want. I was over that anyway. That whole like you're living on people's misery.
Yeah,
it's a vice. It's first of all, it's not a victimless crime. All these girls are abused and have issues. They all grew up without a father, most of them. It's a dead end. They're never going to get out. There is no happy endings in porn. None at all. You're going to end up on drugs. Because once you're done, like you're the flavor of the month, you're the flavor of the year, you're done. Now what do? You got all these movies out and you're notorious. You can't make any money. So what are you going to do? Be a prostitute? You're living off people's misery, and it just wasn't something that I wanted to do, and I didn't change my life. And it was hard. Like this, I don't like. It's crazy, but I didn't mind robbing somebody or like shylocking somebody because hey man, you're a grown adult. You took that money from me. But man, it's just like it got on my head. It just got in my conscience over and over again. I didn't want to do it, and like I was pushing away from that. The only reason I kept doing it is because it kept access, and the feds needed me to keep meeting with people, and that gave me a great thing to do. But I was just like, that's why I couldn't. It was hard for me to do it over for longer and longer periods because I was just over it. My head was there.
Yeah, the whole porn thing's always been a big turnoff for me too. You know what I mean? They're victims. It's a victim situation.
Yeah.
And I just had a girl. She was on the show about 2 years ago. Not even for her porn, but it turned out she was involved in porn. And about 6 months after she did the show, her mother contacts me and says she's missing. We looked into it, and I was convinced she was dead, man. I was convinced she was dead. Her car was dropped off at some motel, and she didn't go back to it for 6 months, and we couldn't find hide in our hair of where this girl went. And thank God, just this week, she just contacted me, and she's alive, and she's out of the porn business. And it's a porn name you'd know. She did a lot of those big films. You can Google her name and find it. But just thank God, you know what I mean? Because for all this time I've been thinking she was dead. So thank God for that, man. Now, how did you get out of because you're working undercover? What was the breaking point there that you started? You came surfaced and you started testifying. Well,
okay. Here's in the book, and here's what I did. We need to place it in the book. So what happened is. Teddy Persico was out of prison for a while, and he would call me to his house. Like, he already break protocol, like by hanging out with me and like talking to me, and it made a lot of people nervous because I knew a lot. So I worked with a company called at that point. I worked for a digital company. I don't even know if I could say it because I don't know if they've even got all the people clearly yet. But
don't say
it was like a stock fraud. It was like a stock fraud company. It was like a telephone company where they stole time. They stole time, like digital time. They had all these servers and everything, and they would do like in the island of St. Martin, they'd handle like all these people's like long distance, and then they wouldn't pay the phone company. And
right.
It was like, and so I made a lot of money off that a month, but I didn't get to keep that. It was set, right? But they gave me a lot of. They paid me a lot of money. I was part of overseeing it, and I worked with a couple other guys. A guy named Manny Garofalo and some other people, and Teddy started asking me questions like, well, how much are you making? And I just told him the truth. And like, I like, to be honest, I really liked Teddy Persico, even though he's a habitual criminal. He's bad news. He's been convicted of ordering hits on people. I've been with him when he's going to do it. He wasn't a bad guy. Like, I actually liked Teddy. And so when he started asking me questions, I was burned out of being there. So I started telling him the truth. And then he goes, yeah, but like, they tell me that they're not making, I'm like, look, dude, everyone there, this guy's got a Porsche Cayenne, this guy's got this, they have like 4 houses. How many houses do you have? Well, I got this place. I go, they rent it for you. And then they're like, yeah, but I got a Mercedes. I go, he goes, $100,000. I go, it's lease. They're paying a lease from the business. They're writing off their taxes. You don't own that car. And then he's like, yeah, but I have interest in the parking lot. And I go, you don't. They're in this guy's wife's name. And you're getting $2,000 a week from the one parking lot and another $1,500 from another one. They're getting equity money on it. They're going to sell those for big money someday, and you're not going to get anything. And like I was explaining to him, like, I go, the place where your truck lot is, that's owned by this guy's uncle on paper. It's his. They're making equities. You know what that is? And I'm explaining it to him. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? He's been in prison for 20 years. So I started explaining to him, then he started getting mad. And so me and Teddy were out to dinner one night, and then he got mad because another guy had talked about it, a bunch of smack. And so they were dropping, him and Eddie Garofalo were dropping me off at my place, and I started to walk out, and they go, get back in the truck. We got to go deal with something. And at first my heart sank. I was like, man, I'm going. I'm going to go. All I had is a knife on me. but they made me sit in the back of the car. I was sitting in the front of the car. So this was good. I was in the back of the truck. And they're like, hey, we're going to go to my mother's house, and we're gonna get tools, and we're gonna go deal with this. And then he starts calling up his brother. He goes, come to mom's house and bring the tools. Get Sean, get the other brothers. He started naming off names. Get the other kid. And then he looks at me and he goes, I was wearing a wire too, by the way. I was wearing actually two. One lasted for 13 hours, the other one lasted for 9. But I had them both on. They were rolling. And he goes, we're gonna go deal with this. And he goes, this guy Craig, he's just like me, but he's with a different crew, and we have some problems with him because he was on the other side during the war. So we're going to go deal with this now. You got a problem with that? And I was like, well, no. Craig was my friend. I used to go to the movies with him and a bunch, but hey, now I got to go. So we went to his mother's house. While I was at his mother's house, his brother comes with a box of guns. Everyone takes a gun, and he looks to me and he goes, grab a gun. And I look, and there's only a 38 left, but there's no shell. And he goes, well, can't you make them fit? And I go, dude, Teddy, I could put a 38 and a 357, but I can't put a 357 and 38. It's not going to work. So he goes, all right, you got your knife. You can deal with anyone that runs this way. You're on the outside. When I take them down by the water, you deal with it if they come running. And he tells his brother go the other side. And his brother starts telling him that the bullets are dirty. And then Teddy's like, then he freaks out. Says, what kind of gangster are you, man? You bring dirty bullets to the head. And then his brother goes, I don't have any gloves. He goes, dude, to the other guy, Kid Frank, you take off your socks. You drive, you clean. Like, use the socks as gloves. So we went to this restaurant. He calls the guy up, and the guy, for some reason, he knew that he didn't want to be at Teddy's mother's house or at the restaurant. So he says, we'll meet in front of the restaurant. As we get there, I'm recording it all, and Teddy's like, yeah, you're being awful quiet. Well, I was being quiet because I'm recording. But I'm like, don't worry about me. This guy just brought this thing. So we come over this little hill, and when we pull up, there is a huge, hook and ladder, a paramedic, and 2 NYPD SWAT cars. They're bringing out a guy next at the restaurant, next door to the restaurant we're going to. He had a heart attack or something. So, in my mind, I'm convinced that, the feds really have a wire on me, it's transmitting. They lied to me. Oh, they're doing this. I'm thinking, wow, I'm the luckiest person in the world. So we go there, and Teddy decides to hit off. So we go there, we talk to the guy, and Teddy goes, don't ever turn your back on Craig. And Craig's a killer. So they said, don't ever turn your back on him. Everything should be smooth. But, now he knows you're with us. So I'm like, oh, great. And that's how I ended the book. But in reality is, about a month later, I got called to a sit-down by Manny Garofolo at a restaurant, at a diner. And I walked to this diner off the Bell Parkway. And I walk into this diner, and they usher me to the part that's closed, and it's just me and Manny. And Manny's acting real upset and angry at me, and he's really beefing with me. And he starts yelling at me. He's like, you told Teddy that I'm laundering money for you? And I go, no, I didn't. He goes, yeah, you did. He goes, you told him I was laundering money for you. I go, no, I didn't. And he's like, he goes, wipe that smile off your face or I'm going to smack you in the face. And I go, not for nothing, but if you smack me, I'm going to knock you out. At that point, I made the decision because that was that's the end right there. Yeah. And I was so burnt out on being in this that I was like, screw you. I don't care. I will knock you unconscious. And so I got up and I started to walk out. He's like, I want you to get in the car with me and go to the truck depot, basically on this one part of Staten Island, right next to Fresco landfill. No way. 6 o'clock at night. I'm not going. So I walk outside the diner, and my truck is in between the diner and a gas station. And parked behind the gas station, I see this kid, Frankie, and another kid that I know are shooters with the Colombo family in a Honda, which I've never seen. I see them, behind it, in this car. And I'm like, okay, they're not. This isn't just a coincidence. This is for real. They're going to get me. And all I can think about is I got to get to my truck. I had a pistol underneath the seat, and I'm like, I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to shoot it out with these guys. I'm not going down. And my heart's beating so fast. And then Manny tried to pull his car in between me and my truck, and he tried to pull me into his car, and I'm like, no way. And I got loose, and then I jumped. I opened the door. I had an automatic start in my car, and I started it. And I opened my door, and I reached that thing, And I was in an F-250 pickup truck, and there's just no way that anyone's going to stop me. Once I got in the Belt Parkway, I started going back to Manhattan.
So what do you want to leave us with?
I just want to leave you that, look, man, I lived this life. I did it, but everyone can change. Change is out there. You can do it. You can change your life. Salvation is out there. It's not too late.
Okay, great. And Kenny, thank you so much, man. Okay, and as soon as the other book is ready, give me a call. We'll put you right back on the air.
I will. Thank you.
Take it easy. Okay, well, there we had Kenji Gallo, and the book we were talking about is Breakshot, A Life in the 21st Century American Mafia. And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.